Accused Season 2, Episode 7, titled Eugene's Story, aired Tuesday, December 3rd on Fox. The latest installment of the anthology series sees Ken Jeong play a jewelry store owner who is put on trial after interfering with his wife's dicey past. As the hour unfolds, viewers learn that Grace had been involved in an armed robbery-turned-murder charge while she was struggling with a drug addiction. Her then-boyfriend, Rex, was sent to prison, but she was spared the same fate. He returns to town and demands money in exchange for his silence, which ultimately ends in tragedy. Grace robs the jewelry store and attempts to leave town with Rex to protect her family, but is accidentally shot and killed by Eugene himself. Jamie Chung, who portrays Grace, agrees with the jury's guilty verdict. However, Chung believes there was genuine love between the married couple, as Grace's husband only meant to show she was worth fighting for. Jamie Chung: I feel like there's so much to love about this particular piece of work. First of all, I love that it's the opportunity to work with Michael Chiklis and Ken Jeong, two of my favorite people in the industry. And to be united with them, as a team, I knew was going to be a great experience, especially having someone like Michael Chiklis lead the helm. He'll tell you exactly how many, but with so many years of being in front of and behind the camera, working with music, on Broadway, on stage, all these mediums, he's a master in all mediums for storytelling. He's the kind of director that actors love, because as an actor himself, he understands our process, and he knows how to communicate with actors. He has so much empathy, and he really cares about this piece, and so he was really able to guide two very vulnerable actors through this whole experience. The script itself was fantastic, and I found it to be so refreshing to see something that was written specifically for a Korean American family, a Korean American family that has found Jesus and includes the church community, which is very big in Korean communities. So I love the specificity of all of it. Most particular, what I loved about this and what drew me to Grace was that she was so nuanced. She was imperfect. She had such a dark past, and she was carrying around so much shame and guilt. She was hiding so many secrets in order to protect her family, her father, and her husband. And she really did have genuine love for them, but she never really loved herself. So I found the character to be extremely complicated, which I loved. I loved playing really complicated characters. There are a lot of things that drew me to this episode. Jamie Chung: I feel like there's a reason for anything. There's a reason for drug abuse, there's a reason for stealing, there's a reason for continuing abuse. I'm not saying that any of it's okay, but usually it's what you know. It's a coping mechanism, and it usually leads from trauma. What is her trauma? Understanding that her father left everything behind in Korea for them to have a great life and to have her mom be taken away, and it's just the three of them in this new country. It just feels really unfair. And I feel like understanding that trauma and the anger and the pain, and her father's not really present, and she feels like she'll never be as good as her mom, and she isn't her mom, and now it's all on her. The immense amount of stress, what it's like to be addicted to crack cocaine or to speed, the drugs of choice for this character. What is that like? What's it like to try to get out of it? A lot of intervention episodes, but just to understand the human behavior of what it's like to try to get out of that. And then if you're desperate for money, desperate for the next high, who are you going to be hanging out with? You're going to be hanging out with an enabler. It's just really trying to understand her character from a place of without judgment, because really she's just trying to do her best at that moment. And unfortunately, that best got her in really deep trouble. And also the guilt of escaping the law and having Rex go down for the crime of accidentally killing this liquor store employee. She's going to have to live with that. How does she cope? She turns to God, and she finds newfound faith, and she never really feels like she deserves the love, but she continues this facade in order to hide her shame, but also do as much as she can to give her father, this loving man, the life that he always deserves and his family that he always deserved. Jamie Chung: the reason why she loves Eugene so much is because he has quite the past as well, but he doesn't come from a place of judgment either. I don't think that she's ever had anyone love her the way that he has and believe in her the way that he has and have someone that can essentially take care of her in a way. It really helped bring her out of a really dark place when they moved to Lowell, Massachusetts, and to restart their lives to run away from Grace's dark shame and past of drug use. I think they found each other in the most vulnerable time, and they really did lean on each other. You can tell he's such a good person. He has such a good heart, and that's really who he is. He embodies the characters. Ken embodies his character so well because he really is that person. He's just such a good guy, and how can you not fall in love with that? And although she continued to give these little secrets, and you can see the horror on his face when she talks about Rex killing an employee, but it was by accident. And it sounds like she's defending him, but in actuality, she's defending herself. And I think that's why she's so terrified to tell him the full truth. She just kind of gives him enough where it feels okay. But in essence, I think they were just really trying to protect each other. She was trying to protect him from her past, the Tempest, Rex, because she knows that he's never going to stop.